I work at a game development company in Orlando, Florida, and recently, it's been an incredibly stressful period with tight deadlines. I found myself staying late at the office almost every night, desperately trying to meet the looming deadline for a game. One particularly rainy Wednesday night, the office was shrouded in darkness, intermittently illuminated by lightning strikes. The rhythmic sound of rain on my office window became my coding companion, helping me maintain focus. At this point, my colleague Chaz was the only other person in the office, racing against his own tight deadline. Around 8 to 9 o'clock, Chaz knocked on my office door before leaving. He inquired about my well-being and whether I'd be locking up, to which I assured him everything was fine. With that, he bid me farewell, and as the front door of our office slammed shut behind him, I found myself alone. Our office space is in the shape of an L, with the entrance at one end and my office at the short leg of the L, essentially the corner office. Battling drowsiness, I ventured down the hall to the kitchen to brew a small cup of coffee, enough to keep me going for another hour. Leaning on the counter by the coffee maker, waiting for it to heat up, I heard a door closing. Curious, I peeked into the hall, called out, but received no replies. The sound seemed to come from one of the smaller private office doors, not the heavier front door. I left the kitchen and tried all the doors in the two halls, which were all locked. As I reached my small hall, I discovered all three doors, including mine, were shut, despite leaving mine wide open. Perplexed and sensing a possible prank, I opened my office door forcefully, but found everything inside just as I had left it. Continuing with my work, the rain persisted, and lightning struck about once every minute, occasionally startling me. As it grew very late, I decided to save my work and shut down my computer. Clicking the shutdown button and turning off the screen, the room plunged into darkness. In the reflection of the computer screen, I noticed a woman standing behind me. Despite the shock, I managed to remain calm, pretending not to have noticed, and calmly walked to the door without looking back. Walking down the hall, I made it to the office exit, then ran down the stairs to my car in the rain. Terrified that I might be followed, I hastily drove home. Upon reaching my car, I took a moment to catch my breath. Glancing up at my office window, I saw the light still on, and I was certain I saw a small kink in the blinds, as if someone was watching me from the other side. I immediately called my boss, Miranda, who confirmed that no one else should have been in the office. She promised to contact the night security guy to check the office. Fortunately, I was able to go home that night. Later, Miranda informed me that the security guy found no one in the office, leaving the mysterious woman as an unsettling enigma. The sole camera in our office, located at the end of the longer hall by the kitchen, failed to capture any footage of a woman walking around that night. A long time ago, I worked in security at an office building in Midtown Manhattan. It was mid-November, and one of the offices was preparing to decorate for Christmas, with their decorations stored in the basement along with other supplies. My usual post was in the lobby, a generally uneventful job. However, on a cold November Monday, my perception of this job took a drastic turn. An employee from a dermatology office on the upper levels reported that the basement lights were out and the elevator wasn't functioning on that floor. Initially, it sounded like an electrician's job, but it escalated when I learned about multiple broken doors, indicating a potential break-in over the weekend. Now it was my responsibility to investigate. Since the elevator wasn't operational, I had to descend the stairs alone. Armed with only a flashlight due to the power outage, the descent was nerve-wracking. The basement contained storage, electrical components, and janitorial equipment, a small maze of corridors and rooms. The call about broken doors turned out to be true. Many doors were damaged, some appearing as if they were forcefully destroyed. This situation was more serious than anticipated. As a security guard without a weapon, I cautiously inspected each room but found no signs of theft. Someone had purposefully caused this damage. While examining another room, I heard a sudden slam, and the basement fell into an eerie silence. The usual noises ceased, and I became acutely aware of every sound, including my own footsteps. Alarmed, I called out, asking if anyone was there. The silence persisted, and I decided it was time to leave. Almost at the stairs, I heard heavy breathing around the final corner. Terrified, I turned off my flashlight and approached quietly. When I turned the light back on, I saw an extremely tall, hunched figure facing the wall with a long object in hand. Their reaction to the light revealed a pale, abnormally long face, possibly bald, characteristics suggesting it was a man. Startled, I ran past, warning that the police were on their way. I rushed up the stairs, locked the basement door, and called 911. Several NYPD officers arrived, but they couldn't locate the figure. An electrician fixed the tampered circuit box, restoring power to the basement, but the mysterious person remained elusive. I took sick days in the following weeks, haunted by the fear that the giant figure might appear in the darkness. Every night, I'd anxiously check my room, still unsettled by the bizarre encounter in the basement. In the early days of 2002, I embarked on my first job experience at a call center in Makati. The role demanded graveyard shifts, and the office, a new site, had a unique layout resembling an elongated donut. The donut hole housed the elevator lobby and main doors, while the actual office space consisted of 2 long hallways and 2 shorter ones. Only half of the office was completed, with the other half still undergoing renovation. The fully operational production floor, bright and well lit as expected in a call center, occupied 1 long half of the donut. It housed managers' offices and a pantry. In contrast, the other long half was a work in progress, reserved for conference rooms, the nurse's office, storage, and other administrative spaces. Due to ongoing construction, the unfinished side was partially lit, and the guards often turned off the lights completely, assuming it was unused. Consequently, people avoided that part of the office, and those in need of the restroom had to make a quick dash. 2 weeks into production, my sickly teammate developed a severe migraine during our shift. Concerned for her well-being, I suggested she inform our team leader. The team leader advised her to visit the nurse's office in the unfinished half, a discovery made possible by the sign above the door seen during restroom visits. I accompanied her on this journey. Upon reaching the nurse's office, we discovered the door locked despite the lights being on. The door, featuring a vertical window panel, allowed us to peer inside, revealing all the expected medical equipment, a sick bed, and a desk. Assuming the nurse might be on a break, we decided to return later. Returning after half an hour, we found the light off, sparking frustration at the possibility of the shift nurse leaving. Despite the lack of light, I instinctively tried the door handle, opening it to reveal a room vastly different from the clinic we had seen earlier. A small nightlight in an exposed socket barely illuminated the concrete walls and floors, devoid of finishes, beds, or cabinets. Confused and convinced that the earlier clinic wasn't a figment of our imagination, we were interrupted by a guard inquiring about our presence in the unfinished clinic. We explained the situation, trying to convince him we weren't fabricating the story. As we spoke, a sudden drop in temperature sent shivers down our spines, making our hair stand on end. Unable to explain the eerie experience, my teammate burst into tears. The nervous guard promptly shooed us away, locking the door to the supposed nurse's office. We were escorted back to our team's bay, where we recounted the incident to our team leader. The story left him stunned, particularly since my teammate's emotional state required medical attention at Makati Med. The incident was never discussed again, leaving it as a haunting memory in the halls of that mysterious call center.